The NFL trade deadline is just 5 days away, and coming up on today's Verts episode, I dive into the latest trade buzz around the National Football League. My name is Harrison Graham. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are 11 subs away from 4,300 subscribers. If we get there before Thursday Night Football tonight, we'll do a Thursday Night Football post-game reaction. I got the Jets in prime time again, taking on the Houston Texans. So let's get to 4,300, and I'll bring you guys a post-game reaction show. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into today's show. Are no blockbuster deals going to take place this year? The NFL trade deadline has become a bigger event in recent years, just like other sports, baseball, basketball. Obviously, for years, the trade deadline's been a big deal. For the NFL, that wasn't really the case until 3, 4, 5 years ago, but now there's been a lot of trades in recent years at the deadline. Now, what's interesting about this year is it kind of feels like a lot of the big trades have gone down, right? Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, obviously guys like DeAndre Hopkins have been moved for lesser value, but still notable names. And as of now, there's really no reporting on the big names that some people wonder if they could get traded. The Max Crosbys, the Myles Garretts, even the Micah Parsons of the world. Big name players on teams that don't appear to be contending right now. As of this moment, there isn't really much chatter around those guys. It's kind of the second tier market. Secondary pass rushers, receivers, maybe middle of the road offensive linemen. Like we saw Cam Robinson go from Jacksonville to Minnesota. Solid but not great left tackle. So I think that's what the market's looking like. Now, could results this weekend change that? If the Browns were to lose and fall to 2-7, could they pivot and trade Myles Garrett for a haul? Could Dallas consider trading Micah Parsons? He's been banged up. That probably plays a role as well. It seems unlikely right now. If I were the Raiders with Max Crosby, if I were the Browns and Myles Garrett, I would at least be entertaining those calls because they're getting them. But it's tough to move on from stars like that, and these teams don't seem motivated to do so right now. However, speaking of the Browns, ZaDarius Smith is a hot name right now. Multiple reports coming in that Smith is a trade candidate that many expect to be moved. I believe it was ESPN reporting that. The Browns want an early day 3 pick. So they're not being unrealistic with their asking price. They don't want like a second or even a third. They want a good pick on day 3. Ideally a 4th. Maybe they would take like a 5th and a 6th, like 2 middle day 3 picks or something like that. But ZaDarius Smith is a top name on the market right now. He's got 5 sacks in 8 games. He's what I would call a professional pass rusher, a good number 2 edge on a solid defensive line. The team he's been associated with most is Detroit because the Lions are looking for pass rush help after losing Aiden Hutchinson. Now, I said a couple of weeks ago, if you want to go watch the video, you can, that Max Crosby to Detroit would be fun. It would be a swing worth taking if I was the Lions. But it doesn't appear the Raiders want to go that route. So if they can't get one of the top guys, the Micahs, the Crosbys, the Myles Garretts, then you're looking at the ZaDarius Smiths of the world. And ZaDarius Smith isn't going to go in there and be an all-pro player, but he could finish with double-digit sacks this year, and he would certainly help fill that void. But if you think you're replacing Hutchinson with Smith, I think you have to reset your expectations. You're hoping ZaDarius Smith could give you 70% of what an Aiden Hutchinson gives you. And if he did, that would be a win. I think that's more than worthwhile for Detroit if it's a 4th-round pick. So keep an eye on that. He didn't practice on Wednesday. As of filming this on Thursday, don't have the Thursday injury report yet for Cleveland, but many were speculating that could have been because he might be getting traded soon. They don't want him to get injured in practice. So ZaDarius Smith, one of the hot names on the market as of now. Let's move to Pittsburgh. The Steelers have been interested in a receiver for months, going back to training camp when they sent the house for Brandon Ayuk. Didn't happen because ultimately Ayuk wanted to stay with the 49ers and was able to get a deal with them. Obviously, he's out for the year now, but that came and went. They were in on Devontae Adams. He wanted to go to the Jets. The Jets wanted him, so that happened. And now they find themselves at 6-2. George Pickens is playing well, but they don't have that true number 2 guy. Calvin Austin is a speedster that can also do some gadget things. Van Jefferson is more of a 4 than a 2, and he's having to serve as like their second outside guy. So ideally, they would get a number 2 guy to put opposite of Pickens. Jefferson kind of becomes their number 4 as a rotation guy, or even you trade him in the deal if a team wants a receiver back, and you go that route. So I want to look at a few receivers that I think could make sense for Pittsburgh based on who's left on the market, because remember, Hopkins is gone too, in addition to the other receivers I already said. So we'll see. And then we saw Deontay Johnson go. They couldn't bring him back anyway, because when you trade a player, you can't be the team that trades for him back at least within 2 years, and obviously that trade happened this offseason. Okay, Darius Slayton's a hot name right now for the Giants. They just saw him go for 4 catches and over 100 yards. He's a big play weapon. He's not a number 1, but they don't need a number 1. He's a 6'2 burner who can give you vertical speed and big play ability on the outside. He's a jump ball guy. He can win on the outside. You can run posts with him. Like, he's a big play weapon. He can average 15-plus yards per catch pretty easily. One of the better vertical outside guys in the NFL. Again, this isn't a guy you're going to target 10-plus times a game, probably more like 5 to 7. He'll catch 4 or 5 and average 15 to 18 yards per catch. That's kind of his game. So you put him opposite of Pickens with Austin in the slot, you've got 3 guys that really are capable of making big plays. I want to revisit Cooper Kupp. Obviously, the Rams have won 2 in a row. They're 3-4. The NFC West is very gettable right now with all 3 other teams at 4-4 and the Rams at 3-4. Well, the Rams play at Seattle this week. If they were to lose in Seattle, I think there's at least a chance the Rams would entertain a Cooper Kupp trade at the right price. I still think they would try to win this year, but the way his contract is structured, it's pretty unlikely that he would return to LA next year, because they can cut or trade him with, minimal penalty. Now, maybe he would agree to a restructure or something like that, but based on his current price, his injury history, his age, if they were to lose in Seattle this week, I think there's a chance that this would get revisited. Now, if they win, that'd be 3 in a row. They'd be 4-4. McVay and the boys would for sure. They might even go into buy mode at that point. But even if they trade Kupp, I don't think they're necessarily punting on the season with Puka Nacua back and healthy. But I think the result of this game this weekend really matters, because if they lose to Seattle, well, Seattle jumps to 5-4. The Rams fall to 3-5. The Niners are on their bye week at 4-4. Arizona plays the Bears at 4-4. That's a winnable game for the Cardinals. The Rams could fall back a little bit. So keep an eye on that matchup. If LA loses, I think that door could crack back open for a Cooper Kupp trade. Lastly, Mike Williams. The Jets want to trade him. Ever since they traded for Adams, he's been a name that's available. Obviously, the Jets are going nowhere. They're 2-6. They made the move for Adams, so they're not going to pivot off him. But trading Mike Williams makes sense. He's like their number 4 guy now. He doesn't look like the guy we saw in with the Chargers for several years. First year removed from that ACL. I think that's showing. But he's still a guy who can win one-on-one jump ball opportunities. He's not going to separate a ton, but what does Russell Wilson like to do? He loves to throw those lollipop jump balls. And if teams start double-teaming George Pickens, then Mike Williams is a guy who would get a lot of one-on-one looks with number 2 corners. Give him chances on one-on-one opportunities. Wouldn't cost that much. I'd rather have Slayton. I'd rather have Kupp. But if those 2 guys either aren't available or don't work out for Pittsburgh, then I think Mike Williams would at least be an okay fallback option, and I still think could be an upgrade over Van Jefferson. So keep an eye on him as well as we get closer to next Tuesday. All right, you guys let us know. What is the biggest name player to get traded, the best player to get moved at the NFL trade deadline between now and Tuesday? As of now, it doesn't feel like those superstar type of players are. Pro Bowl level, really good player. I think that caliber of player could get moved, the ZaDarius Smith, the Darius Slayton, but I don't know if these star guys are going to get dealt at this point. But, teams could change their mind depending on what happens this week in the NFL. So give us your thoughts on that. And don't forget to subscribe. If we cross 4,300 subs before Thursday Night Football, I will be back tonight with a Jets-Texans reaction. Does Aaron Rodgers and the boys have any fight left in them? We will find out this evening. My name is Harrison Graham. Subscribe to 4 Verts for more football content.